Good morning, everyone, and welcome to this week's Broadcast Tuesday. My name is Tori, and I work at Allison James Estates and Homes in the corporate office as part of our support team. Today, we are joined by Richard Thatcher from Movement Mortgage. Good morning, Richard.
Good morning, everybody.
How are you today?
I'm doing well. How about yourself, Tori?
Pretty good. So today we're talking about down payment assistance programs, like I said. And Richard, let's just go ahead and get started with it.
Sounds good.
So let's go ahead and do you just want to kind of briefly talk about what a down payment assistance program is before we go into our questions?
Yeah, absolutely. So, especially here on the West Coast and some of the higher, higher priced areas, coming up with a down payment, even a small down payment can be difficult if you're looking if you're in the market of, $500,000 for the purchase price. Coming up with a down payment is difficult for a lot of folks, especially like you said, if you live in California or states where gas is expensive, taxes are high. So really what I just kind of wanted to go through is there are options out there. And I think a lot of people have this misunderstanding that, well, I make too much money, or I don't qualify, or I'm buying too much house. So I just thought maybe we could go through a few questions, kind of get an idea of what is actually out there. Obviously, you'll want to, whatever market you're in, reach out to someone local. You can always call me. I can research anything for you. Obviously, I'm strictly can lend in California, but I can definitely find answers for other states as well.
Okay, perfect. So what happens if you have a client who has a good job, but they just don't have money for the down payment?
So there are a ton of options. There is FHA routes that you can go that will not only give you the 3.5% down, but will also give you money for closing costs. Conventional, they also have programs out there that will give you the 3% down or 5% down in some cases, as well as closing costs. There's CalHFA, there's the GSF program here in California. But even above that, there are city, county, and even state bond programs. You have to do a little digging to find them, but they're out there as well to give buyers down payments to help them achieve homeownership.
So there's a lot of options out there for everyone, no matter where you're at.
Correct.
And then you had mentioned closing costs. So there is stuff available to your client to help with closing costs as well as the down payment.
Yeah, and I'll give you an example. So here in California, we have Golden State Finance, which is abbreviated GSF. With that particular program, you can get up to 5% in grant money. So typically what we'll do is we'll do a 3% down conventional loan, and we'll use the other 2% to pay for some of the closing costs that might be incurred on a purchase of a home. So yeah, and then, like I said, there's also programs out there with the county and the city that can help that too, but that's one of the more popular ones. And the cool thing about the GSF program is that unlike some of the CalHFA stuff, if you stay and live in that property for 3 years, you actually don't have to pay any of that money back.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Okay. Cool. And you can go anywhere. CPA is going to have things like this, correct? You just talked about California.
Say that again, Tori? I'm sorry.
Any state you go to is going to offer things like this for.
Well, yeah, CalHFA is a national program. So CalHFA, which is through FHA, that's a national program. So any state that you're, buying or selling houses, those programs are available. And so with CalHFA, they've got the CalHFA, which is the down payment assistance, and then they have the ZIP program, which works the same. It gives you closing costs to cover those expenses as well. I like the GSF because the funds don't have to be paid back if you stay in the home for 3 years. But for some people, maybe the conventional is not an option.
Got it. Okay. Let's say your client has a small down payment, but they don't want to go to FHA because of the upfront mortgage insurance. What are the options there?
Yeah. So again, the GSF is a conventional program. So it's just a regular old Fannie Mae conventional first. So there's no upfront mortgage insurance premium. Now, if you do have a buyer that's got maybe kind of a better credit situation, it's definitely the way to go because your mortgage insurance will be a little bit less. And then, like I said, no upfront mortgage insurance premium, so it doesn't raise the amount of the purchase price. And it's really cool because if you stay in the house for 3 years, you don't have to pay any of that money back. So that would be someone who's got maybe a really good credit score, needs some of that money, I would say the conventional GSF program, again, that's state specific, but they're in each and every state, and that's something I could totally research for anybody who had questions.
Okay, perfect. And I see a few people on here listening, but I just want to let everyone know, if you guys have any questions during the presentation, please go ahead and type them in the comment box. We want to make sure all your questions are answered, and while we have Richard here to answer them, now's the time. So don't be afraid to ask any questions. What happens, Richard, if your client makes too much money to qualify for a low down conventional loan?
Yeah, so with these programs, there are income limitations. And again, just kind of going back to some of the higher cost areas, someone who maybe exceeds those income limitations on the down payment assistance programs or the low down payment programs, again, we live in a state where if you make $150,000 a year, you're not necessarily driving around in a Ferrari. So Fannie Mae actually just rolled out a brand new program called Home One. So it's a 3% down conventional loan with no income limit. So, if you got somebody that has kind of got that 3%, but they think they need, a minimum of 5 or maybe even 10, look into that Home One program or give me a call, because it's 3% down, no income limit. They can buy anywhere. So it's a good program. Home One, Fannie Mae just rolled it out 60 days ago, less than 60 days ago.
Wow. Okay. Good to know. Are there any programs that you don't have to use down payment assistance for, but they can still offer you 100% financing?
Yes, and I preach this all the time to everybody. USDA, 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 especially if you're in states like Texas, Florida, Nevada, Arizona. There's a ton of areas that are USDA. It's 100% financing. You don't have to be a veteran. You don't have to have been in the military at all, but it's as a true 100% finance loan. And really should look into that, especially if you have listings. If you're in an area, what a great way to market the listing and say, hey, look, I can offer 100% financing, through rural housing or through USDA. It really opens up the pool of buyers that might be looking at that property. So yeah, USDA. Everybody should do one USDA purchase or sale per year. It's out there.
You keep preaching it.
I love USDA.
We just talked about a lot of different programs and a lot. After saying all that and our listeners hearing all that, would you say that there are still options for little or no down payment for a wide array of buyers? Yeah, Tori. And again, kind of the stuff we talked about is really just tip of the iceberg. And I can speak to, where we live in San Diego County. San Diego County has programs. The city of San Marcos has programs. The city of Vista has programs. The city of San Diego, the county. There is a ton of stuff out there. It takes a little research, takes a little time. So, also keep in mind when you're doing these programs, a lot of them might be 45 to 60 day close. But as the market kind of shifts and stuff starts to stay on the market a little longer, as a buyer's agent, that's a powerful tool to take to somebody who's maybe had a house on the market for 100 days. It says, hey, look, if you're willing to kind of stick it out with me for a month and a half, 2 months, I have a buyer. They're approved, they're qualified, they're ready to go. That might make the difference, an extra 2-3 deals a year if you're a buyer's agent. And the same turn if you're a listing agent. If you've kind of run out on luck and people are kind of struggling with down payments, you can't find that right buyer, market that. Find out about those programs. Call me, I can let you know about them. Market that. Hey, this house qualifies for the San Marcos down payment assistance bond program. Ask me how. Or this program qualifies for the San Diego County down payment assistance program. Call me and ask me how. These are people that may not think they can even purchase the home, and it kind of gives them hope, maybe gets them excited, and maybe gets your property sold. Yeah. And like Richard said, you can reach out to him anytime. Yeah, he is licensed in California, but please feel free to reach out to him anytime with any questions about anything that has to do with loans, mortgage, all that kind of stuff. He has a wealth of information, and we appreciate you being here today to share some of that with us, Richard. Any last minute tips or anything for our audience in regards to the down payment assistance?
I would just really say get out there and just kind of educate yourself. You don't have to be a loan officer, but find out what's out there. Here's kind of what happens, and I run into this a lot. I'll get an agent friend of mine that'll say, oh, I had a guy that wanted to buy a house, but he just didn't have any money for a down payment. He makes too much money. and I'll say, well, let me talk to him. Let me see what's going on. And it doesn't happen all the time, but it does happen enough to where I tell the agents that I work with, get to know some of these programs, because I've saved some of these transactions just because, you do a little research and you find out, well, hey, check this out. There's no income limit on this particular program. And it doesn't matter that he's got X amount of dollars in the bank or in a 401k. He can still do this program and he can still buy a house. So a lot of those people I really feel slip through the cracks, I should say. So just educate yourself, be that agent that says, hey, if there's a will, I'll find it for you. We'll find a program if it's out there, and we'll get you into a home. And I'll tell you what, those people, more than likely, that's their first home. They'll never forget you as an agent. If people told them no and you told them yes and made it happen, that'll be a client for life, and they'll tell everybody they know about it.
That's great advice. I love that. I think everyone should take what you just said and run with it, because it could make all the difference.
Do a little research. Call your local lender, call me, email me, go online, look at stuff through the city you live in, the county you live in, the state you live in. There's money out there. I mean, the government has a lot of money, and you just have to find it. That's really what it comes down to.
And I believe you can never earn too much either. So getting a little bit of extra education on these types of programs that are out there and in your area, it's going to make you stand out even more as an agent, which is
I can't even count how many times I've been with one of my referral partners and said, oh, I've got this buyer and their uncle's a lender, but he just says they just don't qualify. And I've changed that. And it's not because I'm better or smarter. It's just that there's stuff out there that people don't know exists, and you just got to go look for it.
Definitely. Well, thank you for taking your time to talk to us today, Richard. I know there's probably things that we talked about today that people have never heard of. So we definitely appreciate you coming and sharing your knowledge with us.
Oh, thank you guys so much. I love Allison James. Thank you guys for letting me be a part of this.
Well, we love Movement Mortgage, so it's awesome. A little. Richard's contact information is in the description of this video. Like I said, feel free to email, call him anytime. He is there to answer your questions. So please take advantage of having his contact information and give him a call anytime. I'm sure he'd love to hear from every single one of you.
Absolutely.
And next week, we are talking how to use RPR for a listing presentation with Katie Gleboff from RPR. She's one of the main trainers over at RPR. So you won't want to miss that next Tuesday, 10 a.m. Pacific Standard Time. I hope everyone has a wonderful week. Bye, Richard.
Bye. Thanks, guys.